turn to one of my favorite passages, the 91st Psalm. And it reads, "He that dwelleth in the secret place shall dwell in the shadow of the Almighty. Of the Lord I will say, He is my refuge and my shelter." I spent all this time preaching to everyone else, helping everyone else's kids, only to lose my own.
There goes the devil.
Hey, I see you, man. How you doing?
So you remember that leak I told you about?
Mm-hmm.
It's on the floor tonight.
Okay. So what about it?
Just a old with a lot of money and a whole lot of mouth.
What's up, old man?
And dear God, I hate to say I'm sorry.
What would push a positive young man like yourself to take such a dark path?
But I just wanted you to love me.
You be so God this, God that. But did you ever stop for 1 second and think that maybe God is the reason we're here in the first place?
Even though I still love money.
So y'all done come to rob me, huh? But y'all ain't know who you was robbing, did you? So you wanna dance with the devil?
I need more money.
You can feel the intensity. That's the trailer to the movie Dance with the Devil, another highly anticipated film from local filmmaker Joe Smith.
Joe joins us now to share more behind the movie and also talk about the upcoming premiere. Joe, thank you for stopping by this morning. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Tell us what the movie is all about.
So the movie is about an older guy who's just trying to live out his golden years in peace, and some youngians see him as an easy target for robbery, but they don't know that has a dark past. And so when they try to rob him, they awaken the darkness that lurks within.
And the movie ensues. Now, you could feel, like I said, the intensity coming from that trailer. Is this a pretty intense film? Would you describe it like that?
Yeah, it gets intense. As the film continues on, it builds up that intensity. So yeah, it gets pretty intense, especially towards the end.
Yeah.
Where did the idea come from?
It was a short film that I wrote some years ago, and it was just kind of the idea of sometimes, you know, the younger generation doesn't respect or regard the older generation, and they don't know the older generation used to be the younger generation. And, you know, sometimes we don't realize that they can be just as dangerous or even more dangerous. So kind of like a age thing, age war.
That's why I always say, you know, we see a lot of elderly people and we're like, oh, they're so sweet. And you're like, you actually don't know anything about them. You know, you don't know what they were like. So that's an assumption we should never make. But, you know, talk about the actors and actresses you used in this film, a lot of local talent here. Talk about the Detroit movie scene as a whole.
The Detroit movie scene is going nuts right now, and I mean that in a good way. A lot of great talent, a lot of young actors, older actors, people that, you know, have had that talent in them the whole time, but now we've got platforms like Tubi where they can showcase that talent. And so it's great right now, and I mean, we're still finding new actors, new talent, and not just the actors in front of the camera, but the directors and the cinematographers and all of the support staff, gaffers. There's just like an explosion right now. So it's a lot of work.
Kind of give us an overview. How many people worked on this film for how long? Talk to us a little bit about, you shot in Detroit, in the Metro Detroit area.
Yes. So our shooting days range from like 7 to 12 days. And between the cast and the crew, it's usually about 30 people. Could be more, could be less, depending on the film. And, you know, we're just grinding it every day, long days, going from location to location, but it's fun. Yeah.
You know, you mentioned long days. I mean, independent movie filmmaking, it's a tough go. How is the atmosphere right now, the climate right now for, you know, raising money to make these films and getting funds for that?
That's been the challenge for a lot of filmmakers, but fortunately, we've been able to show them some good numbers, some investors, and people are tapping into, you know, people that we know that may have, you know, some cash laying around that they could invest, and the numbers support the investment. So once they see it and see what's going on and kind of see some of the numbers, it gets easier. And then now we're able to monetize our films to a place to now we're able to put our own money up for our own film. So it's a good time.
That's a great place to be in. Yeah, when you do that.
All right, so you're getting ready for the big premiere. How can folks catch it? Give us all the information.
So the premiere is going to be tomorrow at 7 p.m. is the red carpet at the Riviera Cinema. And you can get tickets on eventbrite.com, or you can get them at the theater tomorrow at the door.
Red carpet doesn't mean you're going to be spiffed up?
A little bit.
All right. You're going to keep it real, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Joe.
You're rethinking your outfit now, Joe.
Dance with the Devil. It looks like a great one. Thanks for dropping by this one. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.